Hello, dear students. From the past session, we have started discussing on weighted average cost of capital under chapter 3, cost of capital. We have discussed a few problems under weighted average cost of capital. Today, we will continue with the same concept, that is weighted average cost of capital. The problem is like this. The following information has been extracted from the balance sheet of Fusion Limited as on 31st December 2006. They have given particulars of uh, capital, equity share capital. They have given rupees 400. Okay, 12% debentures 400, 18% term loans 1200, and uh, total value of capital is 2000. Determine the weighted average cost of capital of the company if it had been paying dividend at a consistent rate of 20% per annum. So this is A. And B, what difference will it make if the current price of rupees 100 share is rupees 160? That means the face value current price of share is 100, but if it went to rupees 160, then C, determine the effect of income tax on the cost of capital under both the premises. So that is on A and B. So if we assume a tax rate of 40%. Okay, so now this is about the problem. Here we are supposed to solve solve this problem under all the three premises. Okay, now first we have to calculate the cost of equity, cost of debt, and cost of loan separately, because in the problem they have given amount of equity share capital, debentures, and loan. So but they have not given cost of the each source of capital. So what we have to do first, we have to calculate the cost of each source to the company. Let us see that first. Now here first, cost of equity, the formula is D divided by P. That means the dividend divided by P value, that is market value, into 100. We'll be getting the cost of equity. Now here dividend paid will be at the rate of 20% per annum. So 20 divided by 100. So simple, face value is 100, on that 20% means we'll be getting 20, and that will be the D value. So 20 divided by 100, again 100 P is nothing but the net proceedings. If the in the case of equity share capital, it is the net proceedings. Okay, P value. So 20 divided by 100 into 100, so we'll be getting 20%. The cost of equity is at 20%. Similarly, in the case of cost of debt, here we have to consider the C premise, that is determine effect of income tax and cost of capital under both the premises. Tax rate is 40% they have given. So we have to consider the tax rate. I is nothing but the interest. Okay, 12% debentures. Here 12% is the rate of interest on the debentures. So I is equal to 12. Okay, tax rate is given 40%. So in fraction we must consider 0.40, because out of 1 rupee, 40% would be the tax and 60% would be the net income that belongs to the um, or that belongs to the um, holder. So here 12 into 0.60 divided by 100 into 100, that means the cost of debt will be 7.2%. And similarly, cost of loan, the same formula will apply. Okay, we have to apply. So 1 I is I into 1 minus T, so same rate of tax. So I here in the case of term loans, it is 18%. So 18 would be the I value. So 1 minus 0.40 divided by 100 into 100 will be getting 10.8% as the cost of a loan. Now we have all the necessary information to calculate the weighted average cost first. Okay, now let us begin with the A, that is determine weighted average cost of capital of the company if it had been paying dividend at a consistent rate of 20% per annum. Fine. For A, so we can easily calculate the answer. Okay. Now here cost of equity is equal to 400 into 20%, and cost of debt is equal to 400 into 7.2%, and cost of loan is equal to 1200 into 10.8%. And all these three values must be divided by the respective cost of respective share of capital. That is, the cost of equity is of 400 rupees, and cost of debentures is of 400 rupees, and cost of loan is of 1200 rupees. So total value would be 80 plus 28.80 plus 129 plus 60 divided by 2000 into 100. So the weighted average cost of capital under circumstance A is equal to 11.92%. Now next we'll move towards B, circumstance B. What difference will it make if the current price of rupees 100 per share is now it is rupees 160? Okay, now in this case only the cost of equity will differ. Okay, p value will change. So probably in the beginning of this chapter, while explaining the cost of equity under dividend yield and dividend growth method, I've explained to you that p value for the listed shares, p value for the listed shares will change accordingly with the market value of share. That means listed company will be affected by the demand and supply forces, that is market forces, and p value we must consider that of market value only. But unlisted company, for the case, in the case of unlisted company, that won't be having a market value because it is not listed. So what we have to do, we have to consider the net proceedings after the issue. That means the total value of or total income received from the issue of equity shares minus the issue expenses. Okay, whatever remains, that must be considered as p value. Now here in the case of b circumstance, what they are telling us that the price of price of equity, if what if it moved to rupees 160, that means here p value will change. Okay, from 100 to 160. D value remains same. Okay, dividend remains same because in the A assumption they have given consistent rate of dividend 20% per annum. Okay, that itself they have given, so that there is no change in the D value, that is dividend rate of dividend remains same, only p value changes. So D divided by p into 100, so 20 divided by 160 into 100, that means we'll be getting a cost of equity of 12.5%. So now it is evident that whenever the p value changes, the cost of equity will also differ. Okay, so in the first circumstances you might have so we can observe that the p value was 100, and when the p value was 100, at the rate of 20% dividend, the cost of equity is at 20%. Now the p value has been increased to 100 to 160. Now the cost of equity has been decreased to 12.5% from 20%. So there is a variation according to the p value, changes in p value. And here under circumstances B, all other things, that means cost of debt and cost of loan, that remains same. So there is no changes except cost of equity. If we incorporate all the changes and if we do the calculation, we'll be getting a weighted average cost of capital as a 10.42%. Now we'll go to the third circumstance, that is effect of income tax on cost of capital under both premises, that is A and B. Okay, now under A as well as under B, we have to take into consideration and we have to solve the problem. In the case of situation A, okay, you can observe here. In the case of A, the weighted average cost of capital was 11.92%. Okay, and in the case of B, Actually, here there is a slight printing mistake. They have given A, but it must be B. Okay. Now here in the case of B, the weighted average cost of capital was 10.42%. So in the case of A, it was 11.92. In the case of B, it is 10.42%. Now, if there is no income tax, okay. So third circumstance or third situation that says that if there is a if there is no income tax, okay, so what would be the effect that we have to see here? In the case of both A and B, we have considered the effect of income tax, okay, and you see here 7.2%, 10.8%, that it is considering the effect of income tax, and both under both the solutions we have incorporated that 7.2% after considering the effect of tax, and here also the 10.8% after considering the effect of tax. But what we have to do is here we have already got the answer for premise C, that is circumstance C. But what we have to check is what if there is no effect of income tax on cost of debt and cost of loan. So that we have to check now. Now, in the absence of income tax rates, okay, in the absence of income tax rates, the cost of debt and cost of equity, cost of loan would be equal to the interest rates. That means in the case of debentures, they have given 12%, and in the case of term loans, they have given 18%. That means uh, in the absence of tax rates, the cost would be equivalent to the interest rates only. Okay. Now, under circumstance A, cost of equity is 20%. So, see, you can observe here 400 into 20%. Okay. And the cost of debt is 12% in the absence of tax here. Okay. 400 into 12%. But in the presence of tax, it will change 7.2% something will get. And here in this case, we'll get some other figure like 10.42% something will get. Sorry, just verify. See, 10.8% will get. Okay. Now here we are solving this problem under the assumption that there is no tax effect on cost of debt and cost of loan. So under situation A, 80 plus 48 plus 216 divided by 2000 into 100 will be getting 17.2% as cost of weighted average capital. And under situation B, okay, under situation B where the cost of equity is 12.5%. Cost of equity is 12.5%. See here. So under situation B, the cost of equity. So it was changed, right? So 12.5%. Under that, we are testing the effect of absence of tax on cost of debt and cost of loan on the weighted average cost of capital. So here equity will change, cost of equity will change to 12.5%, and other thing will remain same as previous year. Okay. So 50 plus 48 plus 216 divided by 200 into 100 will be getting 15.7%. So this is the answer for this problem. I hope you got the points. So if not, please contact, okay, for the clarification. Definitely I'll help you. So problems are very simple. This kind of problem may appear for the 24 marks for the examination. Okay. Now let us consider another problem. Now this problem is like this. Assuming that the firm pays tax at 50% rate, compute after tax cost of capital in the following cases. First one, 8.5% preference shares sold at par. Second one, a perpetual irredeemable bond sold at par, compound rate of interest being 7%. Third situation is a 10-year 8% rupees 1000 per bond sold at rupees 950 less 4% underwriting commission, redeemable at par. Fourth case is a preference share sold at rupees 100 with a 9% dividend and a redemption price of rupees 110 if the company redeems it in 5 years. Fifth situation is a common share selling at a current market price of rupees 100 and paying a current dividend of rupees 9 per share, which is expected to grow at a rate of 8%. Fine. So problem is like this. So they have uh, given us to calculate cost of capital by considering a 50% rate of tax under four situations. So on the first situation, there is an issue of 8.5% preference shares, which are issued at par. In the second situation, they have a debt instrument, a bond, okay, which is irredeemable. In the third situation, so again there is a presence of bond, okay, with the issue expenses which are redeemable at 10 after 10 years. And in the fourth situation, again there is a preference share, okay, redeemable preference shares after 5 years and redeemable at premium, fine. And in the fifth situation, there is a equity share with the current market price and dividend rate, okay, and there is also growth rate. By considering all this, we have to calculate the cost of weighted average cost of capital. Now here, before going for the solution, we have to concentrate on few things. So under that, first one is it says that there is no discount or premium on issue or redemption of preference shares. Therefore, the cost of preference share is 8.5%. So here in the first situation, a issue of 8.5% preference shares, so which are sold at par, the cost is equivalent to the rate of dividend. Okay, so there is no changes because they have not given the face value. They have not given any other particulars which are related to the issue of preference shares. So we must consider the cost of preference share is equivalent to 8.5%. Then second thing B, as par value of perpetual bond sold at par is not given, we calculate the cost of irredeemable bond subjected to the benefit of taxation. Okay. So in order to get tax advantage, we're supposed to calculate the cost of irredeemable bond by considering the tax rate. Okay. So this is about the chief explanation. Now let us proceed further to compute the cost of bond. Okay, cost of bond. Now here, cost of bond in the case of situation second, okay, second case here, a perpetual irredeemable bond sold at par, compound rate of interest being 7% they have given, but now here the face value or redeemable value, nothing is given, right? In the case of second situation, second issue. So cost of bond must be calculated in the following line. I is equal to 7%. That is the rate of interest here they have given. Okay. And income tax rate they have given in the problem pays a tax at 50%. So that means income tax is 0.50. So out of 7% interest, 50% must be considered for income tax purpose and remaining would be the income. So half of the 7% means we'll get 3.50. So that will be the net cost here. Okay. In the case of second situation. Now third one, 10-year 8% rupees 1,000 par bond sold at rupees 950 less 4% underwriting commission redeemable at par. Okay. With this information, we have to calculate the cost of bond now or cost of debt now. I is equal to face value into rate of return. Now here rate of interest is 8%. Okay, face value is 1000. Okay, 1000 per bond. So at the rate of 8% means you will be getting rupees 80. That is the I value. Okay. Now issue price is nothing but a p value. Okay, issue price p value. From the p value we have to deduct the issue expenses. Here they have given that underwriting commission. Okay, now this underwriting commission is the issue expenses on rupees 1000. If we calculate at the rate of 4%, we will be getting 40 rupees. So p value, okay, actual issued at rupees 950. So p value 950 minus 40, we will be getting 910. So this is the p value now. Now let us consider the computation of cost of redeemable bond. The formula is same like previously we have discussed. I into 1 minus t plus r minus p divided by n, whole divided by r plus p divided by 2 into 100. I stands for 80 that we have calculated here. Okay, interest must be calculated on the face value only, not on the p value. So please keep this point in your mind while solving the problem. Now 1 minus t, 1 minus tax rate. So 0.50 is the tax rate, 50% is the tax rate, plus 1000. So this is the redeemable value. See here, redeemable at par they have given. So redeemable value 1000 minus 910, that is the p value, divided by 5. 5 is the number of years life of this particular bond, or the tenure after which this bond will going to redeem. Okay, 5, then divided by again r plus p, 1000 plus 110 divided by 2. It's an average of redeemable value and the p value. So if you do calculation, I'll be getting a 5.13% as the cost of redeemable bond. The next will proceed towards the fourth point, that is a preference shares. Okay, the point it says that a preference share sold at rupees 100 with the 9% dividend, and the redemption price of preference share is rupees 110. The company redeems it in 5 years. Okay, again we have to calculate the cost of redeemable preference shares. The formula is d plus r minus p divided by n, whole divided by r plus p divided by 2. Now here d stands for dividend. Here they have given specifically 9% dividend, so 9 plus. So there is no tax consideration for this preference shares. So 9 plus 110. 110 is the redeemable value given in the problem, and 100 is the p value. Okay, 110 minus 100 divided by 5 will divided by 110 plus 100 divided by 2 into 100. We'll be getting 10.48% as the cost of redeemable preference shares. Now the next thing is cost of equity under dividend growth model. Okay, the formula is d divided by p into 100 plus growth rate. Now under fifth situation, the d they have given 9 rupees per share. Okay, 9 rupees per share would be the dividend, and p value net proceeds will be 100. So there is slight printing error, so it must be 100. 9 divided by 100, p value 100. If we nine divided by 100, okay, if we do calculation, we'll be getting 9. And if we add the current growth rate, so there is a growth rate of 8%. 9 plus 8, we'll be getting somewhat 17%. So now here the cost of equity under dividend growth model is 17%, not 15.5%. It is 17%. Now this is about the solution. We'll consider another problem for discussion. Now this problem is like this. A Limited has the following capital structure: equity share capital 2 lakh equity shares, total value is 40 lakhs. 6% preference shares, total value is 10 lakh, and 8% debentures, total value is 30 lakh, and the total capital is 80 lakh. The market price of the company's equity share is rupees 20. It is expected that the company will pay a current dividend of rupees 2 per share, which will grow at 7% forever. The tax rate may be persuaded at 50%. You are required to compute the following: a weighted average cost of capital based on existing capital structure, the new weighted average cost of capital if the company raises an additional rupees 20 lakh debt by issuing 10% debentures. This would result in increasing the expected dividend to rupees 3 and leave the growth unchanged, but the price of the share will fall to rupees 15 per share. Okay, fine. Now, here the problem is a bit different than that of typical other problems. Okay. Now here they have given two circumstances. One is already given, and under another circumstance they are saying us that to calculate cost of weighted average capital by considering the additional issue of 20 lakh debt, and they have also given the effect of issuing debt. Okay, so when they issue 20 lakh or when they borrow additional 20 lakh debt by issuing 10% debentures, so remaining the growth rate same, that dividend expected dividend will increase to rupees 3, and the share price will fall to rupees 15 per share. Okay, so it is quite common whenever a firm issues or borrows a loan from others, there will be insecurity among the existing shareholders, because whatever future profits the firm is earning, equity shareholders are supposed to they have to forgo their part of profits because of the existence of a loan, and firm needs to service their loan, whatever loan they have raised, in the form of interest. Okay, so the existing equity shareholders, they lose future dividend, future future share in the company's profits. Okay, it may impact over the dividend also, so they are going to sell in the market, so they are going to liquidate their holdings of that particular company. So when the supply increases, and because of market forces, supply increases, there may not be demand because of the company's decision of taking debt. Okay, so because of that reason, definitely the share price, market price will fall. Okay, so this is a quite common consequence of raising debt. Anyhow, it doesn't matter here. What we are concerned with, we are only concerned with computation of weighted average cost of capital. Okay, we'll do that. We'll explain. Fine. So first we'll consider situation A, a weighted average cost of capital based on existing capital structure. Now capital structure, we know 40 lakhs equity share capital, 10 lakh preference shares, and 30 lakh 8% debentures. Fine. What else they have given? Just we'll have a glance over that. The market price of the company's equity share is rupees 20. Fine. So P value is 20, market value they have given. It is expected that the company will pay a current dividend of rupees 2 per share. Fine. Which will grow at 7% forever. That means while calculating cost of equity, we have to consider this growth rate. So that means we have to calculate under dividend growth method. The tax rate may be persuaded or presumed at 50%. That means we have to assume that the tax rate is 50%. Fine, we'll solve this problem. We'll discuss this problem under first situation on the same existing capital. First, what we have to do, preference shares and debentures, of course, that we have to calculate cost of preference shares and cost of debentures. In the case of cost of preference shares, there is no need of calculating effect of tax, because preference shares are not affected by tax. So only In the case of debentures, we are supposed to calculate the effect of tax. Okay, we have to calculate the tax rate. Fine, we'll go step by step. Under A, first one is we have to calculate cost of equity. You know the formula computation of cost of equity for equity. So that is D divided by P into 100 plus G, because here we have to calculate, consider the growth rate. They have given growth rate. So 2 divided by 20, 20 is the market price, 2 is the dividend, into 100 means we'll be getting 2 divided by 20 into 100 means we'll get 10%. So that is the return, and plus there is a growth rate of 7%. So total cost of equity is 17%. Then again, we're supposed to calculate the cost of preference. The cost of preference shares remains at a nominal rate of 6%, as there is no other information is given. So cost of preference is 6% only. And in the case of debentures, the par value is given, and other things they have not given. So the cost of debenture is first I value that we have to find out. I is nothing but the interest rate 8%, and tax is at the rate of 50%. So 8 into 1 minus 0.50 means we'll be getting 4%. Okay, 4% is the cost of debt. Now we have all the information, just we have to fit into the formulas to arrive at the weighted average cost of capital. So 40 lakhs into 17% is the cost of equity, 10 lakh into 6% is the cost of preference capital, 30 lakh into 4% is the cost of debentures. And all these three things must be divided by the respective share of capital. So 6 lakh 80, 60,000, 1 lakh 20 divided by 80 lakh. So we'll be getting 10.75% as the weighted average cost of capital. Now we'll go to the second circumstances where there is a issue of new weighted average, where there is a issue of new debt. Okay, there is some alteration in the existing capital structure. They have included 20 lakh additional debt. By doing so, they have increased their total capital to 1 lakh rupees. Now what will have an effect over average cost of capital, that we have to see. Cost of preference shares remain same, cost of equity shares and cost of new class of debentures, that has to be calculated. Now cost of equity, D divided by P into 100. Now what happens here in this case is D, see there they have given the expected dividend is 3, right? So D will increase to 3, and the market price P value decreased to 15, from 20 to 15. 3 divided by 15 into 100 means we'll be getting 20. Fine. And there is a growth rate of 7%. So forever growth rate. So every year, so there will be a growth rate of 7%. So 20 plus 7% will get 27%. Okay. So there is a printing mistake here. D here in this case 3 rupees and P is 15 rupees. See here D3 and P 15 market value. So D by P into 100 means we'll be getting 20, and plus 7% growth rate will get 27%. And now we have to calculate the cost of debenture, I into 1 minus T. Now for the debt, for the new issue 10% debentures. Okay, so 10 into 1 minus 0.50, so that will equal to 5%. So cost of debt or debenture is equal to 5%. Now weighted average cost of capital for equity 40 lakh into 27%, for existing preference shares 10 lakh into 6%, for existing debentures 30 lakh into 4%. So there is no change in the cost of existing debentures. And again cost of new debentures 20 lakh into 5% after considering the tax rate. Okay, divided by 40 lakh plus 10 lakh and 30 lakh plus 20 lakh. So total value will be getting 13 lakh 60,000 divided by 1 crore into 100. That is equivalent to 13.6%. Now this is about the solution of weighted average cost of capital. I'm going to put, I think I have already put problems, 24 marks problems on weighted average cost of capital that you have to solve. And intentionally I have put questions of semester examinations without solving in the description box. Okay, there you will get only questions, no solutions. So my intention is to solve all those questions in the offline classes. Okay, not in the online. Definitely we may be getting some 1 week or 2 week, or maybe we may hope of getting 1 month for the offline classes, because in the maybe in the October you are having a semester examination for the fifth semester, sorry, fifth and sixth semester, both the semesters. So we may be getting 1 month time. During that 1 month time, definitely I will be solving all the questions of university examinations. Need to worry. Okay, in the class. Fine. So this is about the solution of the problems on weighted average cost of capital. We'll be solving, we'll be discussing next chapter. Okay, I hereby winding up this chapter, cost of capital. From the next session onwards, we'll be discussing a new chapter called mutual funds. Okay, intentionally I am starting a theoretical concept from the next chapter, because the cost of the dividend policy and financial statement analysis. Okay, so they are of some practical chapters. So I'm intentionally keeping those chapters for the offline classes, and from the next session onwards I'll be taking up mutual funds. So that's the fifth chapter. Okay, thank you. We'll see you in the next class.